Hi guys, I was muted and did not notice that I was muted. So hello everyone. Let me start the regular weekly MSI demo meeting, and I propose to follow the agenda I shared several minutes ago in MSI Slack channel. And the first presenter gonna be Slava, who would show you several bug fixes we made during this week. 4 bugs created earlier. So Slava, feel free to share your screen.
Hello everyone, and I will share my screen now. So first of all, I will show you bug fixing made by Vitaly Boyko about avoid fading assigned sources listing on product page. So I have instance and I have a product, simple product created with, as you may see, it have assigned default source and some custom source what I created. So I go to advanced inventory and change this configuration to manage stock to no. Click done. And now you may see that this sources tab is still present on product page. And we may see that our custom source and default source assigned. And by the way, you may unassign here using this trash can. But it's disabled, so you cannot change any value for quantity and notify quantity, and that's all. I go back to advanced inventory and change manage stock value back to the config settings. And we may see that these fields are still, again, editable. And I also show that it's affected also in configuration. I go to catalog inventory. And I change configuration settings to no for all system. Saving config. And go back to our product page. Refresh this page. As you may see, that our sources disabled. They are still present, but they are disabled. And I may show you that you may unassign it successfully and assign back if you need it, because this function are still needed even if we could not change the values. But you may assign sources and unassign them successfully. This is all for bug fixing from Vitaly, and I go now to another PR. It's about preventing loss of the website if you unassign them from the stock. So I go to my custom stock, and first I add to my custom stock to created test website. here we are, our test assigned, and I will show you manage stock grid. We see that on my custom stock 1, 2 new websites are assigned. Now, as you may see here, there is a message that you may use Control-click to check several values, to uncheck value, and all unassigned sales channels will be assigned to default stock. I will choose one and save. Here you may see that only test website 2 assigned, and go back to see what's happened on default stock. As you may see here, test website now automatically assigned to default stock. And by the way, there is message also here that all unassigned sales channels will be assigned to default stock. Now I unassign another test website 2 and save. Now you may see that there is no any sales channel assigned to custom stock, and refresh again manage stock grid. As you may see, our websites are not lost. They all now assigned automatically to default stock. I think that's all from me.
Thank you, Slava. Let's follow the agenda. And the next one gonna be Lori, who will show you the update on documentation track.
Hello, everyone. All right, sharing my screen. All right, so this week I had added an MSI FAQ page. As we collect questions from issues and demos, conversations, grooming sessions, we'll add those questions to this page with links into the documentation. This will also help us find what questions there are to enhance the documentation. So as I've been adding these answers, I'm also adding it back into the docs themselves, which thank you very much, everyone, for your questions. They're extremely helpful for everyone. This page will definitely grow, so I'll add some links at the top to make it easier to work through. Also, for other updates on the documentation, I'm working on a new page to give a deeper dive into the source algorithm. So be watchful for that. But for right now, there is an overview of this through this MSI features and processes. This is a great introduction area to kind of understand what's going on with the sources, stocks, and the algorithm itself, and all the features. I'm also adding a new mass action tool page that, I'm also working on a mass action tool page that is going to be in development. This content will be updating as Ricardo works on this feature, and I'll keep it up to date with all the changes that are coming through. So this is going to change quite a bit, but it'll give you a good start introduction. And I'll be adding updates for all the changes that we're seeing in the demo. So the documentation will now start including work that's being completed and pushed out to develop, as well as the beta. That's it.
Cool, thank you, Lori. I just want to I just want to show you an example. For example, how our FAQ page could be actually how we already how our merchant and users of MSI can get benefits from the FAQ page. And we already had a situation when, let me share my screen, when one of the guys came to the project and created several issues. Regarding the it's not possible to edit the source code, and it's not possible to delete sources. And actually, we have in our FAQ page the chapter describing that why it's not possible to delete source, because we use reference to sources in orders beyond place. That's why, taking into account that we don't want to break this reference, so we don't want potentially break and affect already existing orders. We're keeping all these references, and we just provide an ability to make the source disabled. And by the way, when I was making a short preparation for this demo, I noticed that currently looks like we have a bug, because currently it's possible to make to edit the source code. So this is actually edit source page, and the source code is editable, but this field is supposed to be disabled, because in MSI source code used as a natural identity. So after the creation of entity, it's not possible anymore to edit it, because we, under the hood, in our technical implementation, we don't have database generated ID. And in our case, the source code plays the role of unique identity. So updating it, you will actually taking into account that in Magento there is no CRUD, but we use a LSD. So there is no so we use a LSD like a load, save, delete. So our save method actually doesn't differentiate insert or update query. So updating the unique identity, user will just create another source. From this perspective, the source code supposed to be disabled on a level of UI. Slava, could you please create this bug after this demonstration? Because it looks like, if I'm not wrong, we already had this functionality, and probably this functionality was broken after some changes in UI. Okay, that's all regarding FAQ page, and the next presenter gonna be John, who will share the update regarding the MFTF framework and running all our tests on Jenkins environment. So, John, feel free to share your screen and share your status.
Howdy, everyone. Okay, for the past few weeks, I have been working on a few different tasks, one of them being stabilizing our existing MSI tests. The other big task was getting our Jenkins instance up and running. So with the help of Anne and our lovely DevOps team and Alex Kolesnik on our awesome Pangolins team, we finally actually got, as soon as I get this lovely control panel out of my way, we actually got builds running. So for the first time, we have an MSI build running right now. Right now we do have a few issues in the tests. I have made changes yesterday to these tests that are being problematic. I have pushed those changes and I kicked off a new build. So that's what's running right now. So hopefully later today, we will, fingers crossed, have a green build. If not, I will keep chugging along at fixing these tests until we actually get a green build. So it has taken a while, but we have finally got it done. Updates on number-wise, we have 78 tests in the MSI repo currently, and there are 9 that are pending PRs right now. So once we actually get the builds green, we'll get everything merged, and we will actually be able to run this with everything for all of our builds going forward, which is really exciting. It has taken a while, but we're finally here. Let's see. Yeah, 78 tests, 9 pending. Yeah, I think that's it from my side. Actually, so when we were actually doing the maintenance on our test repos, we found that there were changes made to non-MSI modules that we had to move to a separate PR for the Magento pangolins repository. Because when MSI is installed to a Jenkins build, it only copies over the MSI modules like any other extension. So if changes are not included in the MSI modules, then they won't be referenceable. So we have to have them synced to mainline Magento, and then all the MSI parts have to be contained within the MSI modules. So that's just something we discovered when we were doing this maintenance. And I moved all the changes over, I split them apart, and I put them in the right repos. So that's how we got this unstuck. It's one of the issues that we ran into. But that is it from my side.
Cool. Thank you, John.
You're welcome.
The next presenter gonna be Bartek, who will share the update from his agency. Bartek works in Bolt Agency in Krakow, Poland, and he will tell you that his agency is about to launch 2 projects on MSI, and Bartek will share some details about these projects. Bartek, feel free to share your screen.
So hello everyone. Yes, we are about to launch 2 new projects with MSI on board. One of them started already, so we started development. Right now we have to integrate our client needs and warehouses. Our clients has warehouses all over the East Europe. So we decided that MSI is perfect for that. Yeah, and of course we started with Magento 2.3 Alpha and MSI. This is a commerce version. So yeah. On the horizon, we have another client that should accept our predictions about MSI and use it. And at least, not for last, of course, we have a very sophisticated project. Yeah, it's all about that. This will be something like a marketplace. So third-party sellers could add their products to this marketplace. Of course, this is not hard part, but hard part is start with numbers, because in our prediction, there will be about 10 to 20,000 of stocks, because every third-party sellers need their own stock in Magento. So this will be a tricky part for this integration, but for a couple of months, we should have a proof of concept that this is possible, and yeah, it will be hard for us.
But probably in your case, you would not multiply the stock. So in your case, with this marketplace, each stock actually will be mapped to one and the only one source.
Yeah, exactly. One source with multiple stocks. Yeah, but because every seller needs their own stock, and we have to, for the customers, show on, for example, in catalog page and search page, aggregated stocks, but in precognitions there is one need that on the product page, client can choose one seller for particular product. Yeah.
So in your case, the role, let's say, the role of the stock resolver gonna be made manually by customer, correct?
Yeah. Exactly.
So by the way, it's very similar as it potentially store pickup could be implemented, because on store pickup you're also supposed to show all different locations where the some particular product could be picked up, and the customer manually choose the source or the store where he would like to get this product. So it's similar.
Yes, but there's a more in this project, because we have to rebuild whole checkout system, because you can have products in your cart from one seller for second seller, and this is the different line of order.
But
so this is something like multi-shipping, multi-ordering in one order.
So in your case, you would like to make a checkout and make an order, and in this order gonna be several stocks used in the scope of this order. But maybe it makes sense to do it like we implemented the multi-shipping, because actually multi-shipping creates several orders, and each of the order internally represent one particular address. So if you will do the same, for example, and you will create several orders, and each order would be for corresponding stock, you will actually make a fallback to existing out-of-the-box implementation of MSI.
Yes. I don't predict a lot of change in MSI core, of course, more in Magento core itself. So, yeah, but there's a lot of numbers, a lot of stocks, a lot of products. So
by the way, this looks like at least from the way how you describe the look and feel and the architecture of this solution, it's really similar to the way how we expected to implement the store pickup functionality. So if we will sync up on this, we can, for example, make an assistance to your project implementation, and potentially we can grab some part of this and use this as a store pickup functionality.
Okay, great. Yeah, and all these projects, I think there will be great testimonials that MSI really works. And
yeah, this is really good justification. Like an
first project will be started on at September, so it's pretty quick.
yeah, so you still have a time for summer vacation.
Yes, I am. I'm on vacation at September too, so yeah.
Okay, Barry, good to know, and we definitely wish you all the best on your project, because your success would be a small part of our success as well.
Yeah. All right. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you, and I believe we will continue communicate regarding your project, and we can grab some experience, and also, as I said, it's really similar to how we expected to implement this pickup functionality. So maybe we will talk about the contribution of part of your project to MSI.
Thank you.
Okay, the next presenter gonna be, let me check. It's supposed to be me. So I will share with you update on a grooming. So for last 3 days, I will share my screen. For last 3 days, me and Valery were talking about how it's better implement the roadmap. We were talking about technical implementation of these two stories, source item configuration and the stock item configuration. And the main idea behind these stories is pretty similar to how we make a segregation between sources and stocks. And you know that currently we made a segregation, and this is actually the real implementation of the CQRS on a project. So we have command interfaces, and four command interfaces represented as sources. So these are interfaces for data modification. And we have a query interfaces. In our case, query interfaces are stocks. So these are interfaces for data visualization and reading data. And on a front end, we work just with the stocks. And we know nothing about sources. That's why actually our system is agnostic to, at the time of the order placement, we're agnostic to how many sources we have. And our order placement process is identical for single source and multi-source systems. That's why we don't add additional performance degradation if we have many sources on board. That was actually the main design solution and the main idea, technical idea we try to introduce and try to follow during the MSI development. And actually the same stuff we would like to make for configuration. But currently configuration is a little bit more tricky. So if we'll open the configuration page, where is it? Seriously. Excuse me, I forgot to find this page before. Do you remember, Larry, what's the name of this page? Yeah, this one. So if you look through the configuration, you'll see that some of the configuration, contrary to the stock availability and the source quantity, we have the configuration and which is applicable for on the source level and on the stock level. For example, we have some configuration which is applicable just for the stock. For example, only X left threshold, or manage stock, or minimum quantity. So this is configuration option applicable just for just on a stock level, and they don't have, they actually useless on a source level. But there is some configuration option. For example, like here, quantity use decimals. So quantity use decimal is a configuration option which should be applied just on a level of source, and on a level of stock, it should be computed. So this option, there is no sense to specify it manually on the stock level, but it should be computed option. So we need to get the value for this option on the level on stock based on a value provided on a source level. So, for example, if I have sugar and the sugar on a warehouse can be sold as a decimal, so we don't have it packed by kilograms or by pounds. So there is no integer value for it. So we can just get this value based on a source representation. The same for backorders, because we can say that backorder and the backorder availability is the option which is supposed to be computed based on a configuration setting specified on a source level. Because, for example, if we consider such case as a dropshipper support, so we can say that all the items allocated on a dropshipper are source items with allowed backorders, and in this case, this is a configuration option on a source level. The same as, for example, if we have a stock. If we have a stock and several sources assigned to this stock, and one of the sources has configuration of backorder enabled, we supposed to make an aggregation, and the stock level backorder should be enabled, especially if you have a backorder with infinite quantity, as it is implemented now before the negative threshold for backorders implemented and merged by Alessandra. So we also will use backorder as a computed option, not as a individually specified option on the level of stock. That's actually why we have here several different tricks, and what our design, what our final vision here, that we would like to make stock item interface. So stock item interface is an interface which will represent a computed and calculated index, and the front end will work with this interface. From this interface, we are going to eliminate all the setter method. So the interface is supposed to be immutable, and the interface will represent pre-computed index. And all the data changes would be done through the admin panel, and through the admin panel, each particular configuration option will be changed via dedicated service. So we'll create commands in a CQRS architecture, and this command will affect particular configuration option, whether this configuration option is supposed to be changed on a level of stock, like min sellable quantity or max sellable quantity or quantity increments, or whether this configuration option is supposed to be affect data on a level of store, on a level of source, like backorder. And at the time of the inventory stock configuration reindexation, so we would have own indexation process for inventory configuration. We would create dedicated index for particular stock item configuration data. It would be a little bit more complicated than we have for stocks, because to build index for stock, all we need to do is just use the source item data. But here we will have the data for the source configuration and for the stock item configuration. Also, we will apply fallbacks, which will also introduce some complexity. But the idea is pretty the same. So we want to build the we want to make a segregation between commands which update the data, and we want to build the immutable read interface, which would be used as a query on a front end. And the front end is supposed to work with the interface without any possibility to affect and update the configuration values. So this sounds probably a little bit tricky, and during the weekend I will try to make a corresponding document and describe all this process and describe all the interfaces, because there are supposed to be many interfaces here. And after that, on our last grooming on Tuesday, we will try to finalize the scope of work. We will discuss and clarify all the final questions with Mark regarding that, and at least we will try to provide the at least rough estimation whether we would be able to finish this pretty big story in the scope of our second beta release of MSI. This is actually all regarding the grooming of sources and stock functionality. If there are any question from your side, feel free to ask them. I'll try to answer both from technical side, and there is Mark on the call who can answer from business side. Looks like there is no question. Maybe there are other questions not related to grooming and to source and stock configuration, but like questions devoted to MSI, like a general question, etc. If no, looks like we're done. Thank you guys for your time. Feel free to ping us in the MSI Slack channel. We are always available, especially on weekend and at night. So this is the time when we have spare time for chatting. So don't hesitate to ping us anytime, and see you soon on further MSI weekly meetings.
Thanks, Igor.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.